God hears us from silence to shouting. Grace and peace, everybody. Welcome to Sabbath School Study Group. My name is Chris Bailey. We are in part 3 of this 5-part series, looking inside out. It's how God sees us, and it's how we need to understand that, embrace this, and enjoy it. Because if he sees from the inside out, if he's looking at us from the bottom to the top, guess what? Even when we can't say a word, he hears our prayer. But before we talk about that, no pun intended, I want to thank you for watching. Appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Please hit that like button so that others can find this video. And by all means, go to changeministry.org. There's an entire prophecy series. Enjoy that because it's letting us know that from beginning to now and into the future, God sees us, and his plan is that he's going to bring us home. So now let's hear from someone who could not talk. In this particular encounter in the book of Mark, Jesus is engaging a man who is dumb, meaning that he does not possess the ability to talk. Maybe because he could not hear, because he was deaf, he could not verbalize or bring together sounds to actually speak. So he has a double whammy, if you will. He can't hear and he can't express himself, but still there are feelings, still there are thoughts, still there are motives. Where? In his heart, that even though he did not have the ability to articulate them, it's no problem for the God who sees us from the inside out. The Bible says, again, departing from the coast of Tyre and Sidon, he came into the Sea of Galilee through the midst of the coast of Decapolis. And they bring unto him one that was deaf and had an impediment in his speech. And they beseech him to put his hand upon him. Now there's that beseech word again. We visited that a few studies ago. And the last time that we saw somebody beseeching Jesus in the book of Mark was Jairus beseeching Jesus. Now you could argue that all the other miracles, they besought Jesus, but it literally says that Jairus besought Jesus. But remember, before Jairus besought Jesus, guess who else did? The demons. The fallen angels even besought Jesus. And so we work now from there all the way to this man, to go from one extreme, fallen angels, to another, a dumb and deaf person. This brother who could not talk was heard. This brother who could not give speech was able to be read by the God who sees our heart, who knows not just what we're thinking, he even knows what we're feeling. Because we are his children and because he is our father, he doesn't just know what we feel, he even feels what we feel. So now what is the evidence that Jesus hears this man who cannot talk? The Bible says, and Jesus took him aside from the multitude and put his fingers into his ears, and he spit and touched his tongue. And looking up to heaven, he sighed and saith unto him, Ephphatha, that is, be opened. Now, if you're asking yourself the question, why is it that Jesus had to get private with this guy? Because it seems like this is probably the most physically intimate, or one of the most physically intimate miracles that he performs. There is this contact where he's putting his fingers into his ears. That's one of the last places we want to put our fingers into anybody's ears, because we don't know what we're going to pull out. But he doesn't stop there. He takes him aside and he spits and touches his tongue. There's this exchange and this engagement that is almost as if Jesus is going from preacher to prophet and now to poet, to where he's trying to illustrate that the level that he wants to deal with us on is much more intimate than throwing out a miracle or throwing out power. He wants not just righteousness, but righteousness through relationship. So now what happens? It's here in verse 35 that it says, and straightway his ears were open and the string of his tongue was loosed. And he spake plain. And he charged them that they should tell no man, but the more he charged them, so much the more, a great deal, they published it. This is a powerful story where this brother goes from not being able to talk to being able to shout what God has done. And he could not be contained. He could not be stopped because he was not just seen by God from the inside out, but he was changed from the inside out. His heart, and in this case, his head, were able to give manifestation to the power of God. And it's no different for you and for me today, that because we have a God who looks from the inside out, from the bottom up, and even when we can't say the words, he knows what's written on our heart. And that's why he's able to fix it.